Welcome to the ylnifarmersmarket Market podcast. On this show, twice a month, we highlight and take a deep dive to get to know one of our 350 vendors of the number one market in the state of Indiana. Here's where we tell the stories that you won't hear anywhere else. I'm Adam Reno from Influencer.tv, and this show is powered by Solar Pros. For more information regarding your roof and a better option to save money on your electric bill, go to the description of this show and click the link for more information. And now, let's start the show. Today, we're talking to
Natalie Konow. I am the market assistant volunteer.
Now, first things first, you're gleaming off the shing shing. We have to say your last name is going to change soon. Is that correct?
Yes, here soon. It's going to be Natalie Watson.
Okay, so right away, can you tell us the story, because it was in the last couple months? So tell us, the story of the engagement, and then we'll get into, because it's just very exciting. So
Thank you.
Get into that first a little bit. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, do you want me to talk about how we met or like how he proposed?
So we can definitely do both. Yeah.
Okay. So my fiance's name is Jonah. And we always have a running joke between us and our market friends, because nobody has really met him much. He hasn't came around much.
Does he really exist?
Yes,
Are
that's
you
like
just
the
wearing
running joke.
an awesome ring? Are you what is happening? Right.
I know the joke is he actually doesn't exist.
I did
does.
see him. Right. One time, a few Saturdays ago. No.
He does come every now and then with me. The problem is he works every single Saturday.
Yeah, so it's tough.
So that's his schedule. And unfortunately, I don't see you guys very often outside of Saturday besides Ashley.
Right.
I watch her kids. So I see her multiple times a week.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But okay, so his name is Jonah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know when you first met him, okay, there's something special about this guy, or were you just oh, there's a guy, and that's all?
We actually met right around Christmas time when I was a junior in high school. We just had a bunch of mutual friends. I went to Carroll and he went to Homestead, and we met, and I always liked him. He was always kind of the goofy guy of the friend group. He always had a very outgoing personality. But at the time, I wasn't really a relationship person. And so I never put much thought into it. So we were actually friends for about 7 months. We would text and Snapchat almost every single day. We got pretty close. But randomly during the summertime, so about seven months later, I don't know what clicked, but I just was wow,
You're into him.
I kind of like him. I think he's cute and not in a friend way.
Yeah.
And the feeling was mutual, and then we started dating, and then we haven't stopped. So.
And you're not going to now. It's just going to change. You're going to change your last name. So now tell us then how he proposed.
So I just found this out, but I guess he's had the ring for a long time.
Okay.
And he was planning on proposing during New Year's, but he didn't have the ring in time. And then he was planning on proposing on Valentine's Day, but I ended up getting the flu.
You ruined his...
I know. And it's funny because a random thought in my mind came up about a proposal around Valentine's Day. I was like, what if he just proposes during Valentine's Day?
But then you were...
But then I got sick, and that thought just completely left my mind. So it was April 28th, and we were just going to go on a dinner date. And I wasn't thinking much of it.
Yeah, just a normal day.
Yeah, we went to Nawa for dinner. And afterwards, he was saying how there's an art show. You know where the paper mill is on the landing? They sometimes do host art shows there.
Oh, but it wasn't really. He was just saying that to get for the story.
So at first I wasn't thinking much of it. He said oh, my friend is doing something in the art show, I want to go say, like,
Support.
I want to, yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't think much of it,
Yeah,
you know.
okay, babe.
Yes.
Right? Like,
there are art shows there, and he does have a lot of artsy friends. So I wasn't thinking much of it. I was like, sure, that's like fine with me.
which I'll point out then, that is a pretty good story. If he said, hey, there's my friend an underwater basket weaver 8 miles up the road, and you'd be like, that's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
But he chose something that went well, clicked with, okay, I'm following.
And so we go to the building, and we're walking up the stairwell, and there's paper signs that say art show with an arrow going up the stairs.
This guy, he planned out
just a sheet of paper.
You're like, okay.
At first I was like, okay, that's a little strange.
A little tacky.
Yes, yeah. But I wasn't I wasn't thinking much of it. So we keep climbing the stairwell. I mean, like, we're just
for the landing,
climbing.
you're going,
we keep climbing. There's another sign. And I was like, okay, this is getting strange. We keep climbing. And then there's a third sign. It goes like, you're almost there, art show. And it just like hit me. I mean, I'm like on a verge. I mean, I'm walking up this hot stairwell in heels. Like, I am sweating. My heart rate is going like 140 beats per minute. And I look at this third sign, and it just hit me like a sack of bricks. I was like, I'm walking to my proposal right now. Because, like, we're climbing to the rooftop. The rooftop is privately owned.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I know there's not an art show up there. So now I'm having like an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to be proposed to.
You're like, am I wearing deodorant?
Yes. I don't think I had a thought in my head. I think I was just like, this is it. This is it. And so then we get up to the rooftop, and there's like those lit up signs, you know. It has like a ring, and then it says me with a question mark. Shout out Alphalet, Fort Wayne. And I walked up there, and then he got down on one knee. And I know in my head, I was like, I'm going to like just profess my love to him. And I don't even remember saying yes. I think I just held out my hand. And I remember looking down at my hand. My hand was literally shaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice. It was just us two. And then my family and friends were back at our apartment.
Like waiting, like, because he set everything up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very, very cool. So, man, that is one of the most interesting starts to our podcast that I think we've ever had. I mean, that is pretty cool. And I'm glad that it was just, it was so recent. And we were talking about the ring before the show and stuff. And so I thought when you introduced yourself and said your name, I'm like, that's going to change soon. So get that story kind of going. And I thought that was cool. So yes, on behalf of the entire market, congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's find out a little bit more about you. You said you went to Carroll.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Cause he went to Homestead.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you grew up here in Fort Wayne. So you're from here. Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit about the market as far as before you ever really helped out or were involved. I assume you came as a fan, right?
Yes.
So like, okay, was there certain vendors that you were always checking out, or what really got you to the market?
So I just know of the market because of its popularity.
Sure.
I mean, even when I was younger, like in high school and kind of my freshman year of college, I mean, Saturday mornings, I mean, that's like a hangout spot. I would grab, breakfast.
Get a coffee,
yes,
iced coffee
with
or something,
like
right?
friends.
Yeah.
So I was always familiar with the market, but it wasn't until I started volunteering the summer of 2021. I want to say that's my sophomore year of college, and I added on a minor. So my major is psychology. My minor was marketing, and so I needed an internship with that. And I was thinking, and I can't even remember who brought it up, but somebody brought up the farmers market, and I thought that was a great idea. And so that's
because you'd already known.
Yeah. And so that's when I reached out to Ashley, and we started meeting more, and she started to explain what she would really need. And it was more social media help, which was in the marketing alley that I was looking for. And just everything kind of planned out to where it worked. And even now that I'm graduated, I still volunteer because, I mean, I know everybody. Even if I wasn't volunteering, I would be there almost every Saturday. So.
Which, that is a huge thing that I want to point out. So we've been doing this show for a little bit. We've interviewed a lot of vendors, a lot of people. And the underlying message of the podcast usually is that the market is so much like a family that what you said speaks to it perfectly, because you said, here I am graduated, here I am, whatever. I still want to come because I know everyone, they know me. It just perfectly speaks to that the market is all about family, and all the vendors, they know each other. They know who's next to them. They know, the market assistant, Nicole. She's going to go get them set up. Ashley, I'm walking around interviewing people, doing my thing, whatever. Right? Everyone knows, like, oh, yeah, there's this guy, there's that guy. And that's so perfect. This is a living, breathing example of that, where you didn't have to, but you really, really wanted to. And that's really cool. And that's why you're sitting in this chair right now, because we want to hear that story and we want to hear more about you. So thank you for doing that. That's really cool. Okay, so more stuff to ask you would be, you mentioned earlier that you actually watch Ashley, who the only person ever to be on this podcast twice is our fearless leader, Ashley. And the market would not happen without her.
She truly is an icon. That's how
I mean,
she is the face of the market.
You ain't never told no lie. So how did you get to end up watching? Because I know you pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten to know each other, like dealing with stuff in the market and different events and stuff. And so I've known that. This isn't breaking news to me.
Yeah.
But we're pretending it's breaking news because this is a podcast. So I am curious of this part. How did that start? Like, walk us through that.
It's so casual. So my main job right now is I am a babysitter, and I watch 3 families in total. I'm also a dance teacher. I only teach 1 day a week. So my Monday through Friday is watching children. And I think around like a year after really volunteering, I started teaching dance a little less and less. And that's when I was filling my time more with like babysitting, and I was looking for more families to watch, because a lot of these families, they only needed like a day or two. And so I was like, I need more income.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know Ashley was looking for a babysitter, but she kind of mentioned something like, would you be interested in watching my kids?
Did she know that that's what you did then?
Yes. And I think that's what like brought up her curiosity too, because I don't think she was really looking for a babysitter. I think she was, cause I don't think she really like needed a sitter, but I think she was like, that would be nice to give me a break set of time to work on stuff for the market, or like just run out and do errands, that type of stuff. And she asked me if I was interested, and I said yes, and I clicked really well with her family, and so now I'm over there every single Thursday. Okay.
So sometimes on Thursdays we meet to go over different ideas and stuff, and so she's probably like, oh, I'm off to meet with Adam on something, and I'm
watching her kids.
The other end of that. Okay, very cool. So what is, before we shift gears, I want to know, can you give us any funny story about watching the kids? Like, does anything come to mind? Because now we're kind of curious, right? Like,
I have so many from so many kids. Their kids are just, they're funny. They can be so mean, but yet they are so funny. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think.
Who out of Ashley's 3? She has 3.
Yes.
Right? Is there one who is more, and based on their personality, that's more funny, than the others?
They all have their days. Her oldest, he's almost 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's starting to pick up on like grown-up humor. Not necessarily like anything like super inappropriate, but like it's like the little comments. Like sometimes if like the youngest girl is, I don't know, do something strange, I'll sometimes like make a little comment and I hear him like snickering behind me and I'm like, oh, you get it.
Yeah, that's always cool, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
When they become aware more, and again, not inappropriate stuff, but just like stuff that's more grown.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you have to put 2 and 2 together to get the joke. Mm-hmm. And he's starting to get the jokes.
And it's like, cool. Like now he's more of a buddy. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you get it.
I do have a funny story. I don't know if I can say it on the podcast.
Yeah, you can. There's no FCC regulations.
But so I don't even know why I started to bring the Wii around. I have my childhood Wii that I grew up with.
Yeah, bowling. And,
yes.
Right?
Oh, I have like almost all the games.
You make a me.
I can't. Oh my gosh, our me's are so funny. Me and my siblings would make the
ridiculous.
Weirdest. Yeah, the eyes are like on the sides of the
head. And like glasses when the person never wears glasses. Like just ridiculous. Yeah.
And so anyways, I told him about the Wii and he seemed like super interested in it. And so I started bringing it and he loves like Super Mario Bros. And like all the games that we have. And they didn't know it was the Wii, like W-I-I, Wii. So
they thought it was us having fun. We together?
No, they would be like, Mom, is Natalie going to bring the weed today?
Oh my gosh. You were sitting on this story the whole time and acted like, oh, I don't know any good stories.
Yeah. They'd be like,
so awesome.
Is Natalie going to bring the weed?
And Ashley's like, no, she is not bringing. Like, what? Did she get it right away or was she confused?
No, Ashley thought it was funny. She'd be like, oh yeah, she's bringing
the weed.
So that one was pretty funny. That made me giggle.
Good. That's pretty solid. That's a wholesome, good like story. All right. So that's what we needed. This podcast needed that.
Okay. I just didn't know if I needed to censor that word.
No, it's fine.
It
is illegal in this state, but it's legal in
not
every other
promoting
state.
it. Not promoting.
Yeah, just
no
saying,
promotion.
It's a play on words of the video game Wii. Calm down, people. No, we've had people legit cuss on here on the show before.
Perfect.
Like, so
Perfect.
Well, not perfect, but you didn't have to take it that far. Sheesh.
Oh, well, I just, I am good at censoring myself. I mean, like my job has been centered around.
Oh, you know
children.
When to, you get it for sure. All right, so can we shift gears now?
Yes, you don't want to talk about this. I do have a million stories about a million other kids too.
I'm sure you do. This will be a separate podcast. Maybe stay tuned, and we will have a separate
podcast things children
with
say.
One Natalie, yeah. So okay, let's talk more about the market. So. And Fort Wayne too. Like, what is something about Fort Wayne that you've noticed over just through high school and now, and just like as you're getting older and aware of downtown and different things? Like, what is something that you're excited to see, keep progressing?
Oh yeah, of course, like downtown. I mean, that's immediately what I think of. We've built the Bradley, we've redone the Landing, and I know that there's even more restaurants and bars going down there. I could be wrong, but I do think they're trying to do this for the younger crowd, for people around my age. And I appreciate that, and I think it will continue to get better. But that's what I like. It makes... Because... when I graduated high school, I was always like, after I get my education, I want to move somewhere. I want to experience more. I mean, I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get out. I don't know if I want to live here. I want to experience something different. But now the older I'm getting and the more they're kind of adding on, And
you're like, oh,
and
cool.
with the safety of Fort Wayne, I mean, Fort Wayne does have how do I want to say it? Like, it's cheaper to live here. The cost of living is a lot lower than general America. And I do say I feel safe traveling, even solo as a female, to the majority parts of Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And
which
so
is saying a lot. I mean, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Indy. Yes. You can't say that necessarily about all of, so. Yeah.
And, like, now I'm getting married. Now, like, the next steps after marriage, like having a family, I'm like, do I want to leave? Now that they're adding more to it, it's more like me and my friends, we get out and we like to go out to eat at like Mercado and then go to the deck or go to a Tin Caps game and then get drinks after. There is a lot more to do for people my age now than there was even when I was a freshman in college. Like all my friends were out at their big universities partying, and I was at home doing nothing. But I think that would be my greatest compliment about Fort Wayne and our community so far.
That is a huge compliment for a young person getting ready to start a family with many things on the horizon. If she wants, willing to say, you know what, I'm willing to pitch my tent here. I'm willing to stay here. That is a huge compliment to what Fort Wayne is doing. So that is really, really cool. So let me ask you a little bit more about what you do day to day and what you see that like turning into. You said dance. How did you do just dance through school and you just always loved it? And is that something you want to do more and more, or where do you see yourself like after you get married and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I was a competitive dancer since I was like 8 years old. So that's the only sport I've ever done in my entire life. And after I graduated, I was a little scared to try to dance professionally just because when I went to college, I paid for it myself. Everything, like all the financial burden was kind of put on myself. Not that I'm complaining or anything, but I could either move to New York and try to go on Broadway, but that's really expensive, or I could move to LA and try to become a commercial dancer, but that's really expensive. Or I could try to go to IU and try out for their dance team, but then the tuition would be really expensive. And, sometimes I think about it and maybe I regret it a little bit, but I think I was meant to stay here, and I think I was meant to be doing what I'm doing now. So because I was staying here, the studio that I grew up dancing at, the owner, she of course was like, well, if you're staying here, I'd love for you to teach.
Okay.
And so I taught at that dance studio all through college. And it got to the point where I was teaching the entire rec program. I was also teaching our younger girls on the competitive team. And I was choreographing, I want to say like 5 dances every season and like 10 solos every season.
That's a lot, right?
So yeah, I was teaching a lot. That was my main job basically through college. And then I left that dance studio and I followed a smaller program. So that's where I teach now. It's called Evolve Dance Force.
Okay.
And there's only 10 competitive dancers on this team. I mean, when I say it's new, I mean it's brand new. We just finished technically our 2nd season, but it's our first full season.
Wow.
And so just because it's such a small group of girls, I've only been teaching 1 day a week. But I mean, I love it. It is a lot of fun.
So you want to keep doing it. You think, would you go to more days and have it be more? Or, I mean, what do you think?
It kind of all depends. I do want to stay teaching dance for as long as I can. I think here soon I am going to look into jobs that have to do with my degree. I think I just want to start building up my reputation in the field of psychology, just because I think psychology is a field that you have to work up to. And so I think here soon I'm going to start doing that.
You got to put your time in.
Yeah.
Right?
And I love my jobs now, and I'm a little scared to leave, but like I said, I need to start building my reputation in the field of psychology.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think you have your head on straight for someone of your age and your experience, which isn't a ton.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's not.
No.
But I think there's a lot of people listening to this show that would know people your age who do not share the same mindset. And so that's really cool that you're really trying to do it right. And we love having you at the market.
Thank you.
It's really, really cool. So, are you aware of the last question that we ask everybody?
I'm being nervous now. No.
So so it's coming completely out of the blue,
yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, this is better this way. So, I don't know at this point if I ever feel, and those of you listening, I don't know if you're if it's like frustration. It's almost like, how do you not know the last question? You have to watch all episodes and know. Like,
I'm a bad skipper.
Like, yeah.
My phone has definitely killed my attention span, because even with like short TikToks, if they don't get to the point right away, I'm like, skip.
You're like,
skip.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's literally funny at this point, because you just have no idea what's coming, and like you're like,
why are you making me so
you're
nervous?
getting red.
Like
yeah,
this.
You're getting like so red. I love it. Okay, so here's the last question. So we are pretending that, we talked about having your head on straight for your age, and like really good.
That was a great compliment.
So with that being said, we are pretending that because of that the mayor, she comes to you.
I feel like it's gonna be like an Ellen show where she like comes out, and
she
like pops out of the box.
Scares, yes, yeah. Ellen does that where, oh, you're afraid of snakes, really? And then fake snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no one behind that curtain. No.
Okay.
So, no, she comes to you and says, Natalie, I need you to create a sign that we're gonna put on top of the AEP building, the tallest building, or we're gonna get Fred Grody to fly the plane, and it's gonna say that message. One of those.
Okay.
The point is that obviously the entire city will see it. Okay, and so you get to craft a message that the entire city gets to see, and so it's on you. And so this is your message of what you want the entire city of Fort Wayne to be. And that's usually the reaction.
I don't know.
Usually a big like exhale first as they're thinking. But I love this question because it kind of really gets your wheels turning. And I usually just keep talking like this to give you time.
I don't want to sound like cheesy.
No, okay, if you watch most of them, they're good cheesy lines, like good, but we end on a feel good, like something.
This popped into my head because I was just talking to a friend about these types of people. I do think I'm a very easygoing person. I think I get along with all types of people, truly, but there's one certain type or one group of people that I cannot get along with, and those are pessimistic people. So if I were to give advice, just be optimistic about any situation you're in, and just always see the bright side of things, and just always choose kindness. You don't know what anybody's going through, so just be kind to one another and just see the bright side of every situation. So that would be my ending quote.
That was not cheesy.
Okay.
That was quite stellar, and again, just speaks to the amount of straightness that your head has. Is that a good way to? As you know, you you have your head on straight.
Thank
For your age, like, there aren't many people who see the world and see the city the way that you do. There aren't many people who would still come to the market the way that you do when they truly don't need to and help out. And so it's just really cool and hopefully inspiring for other people that watch the show who may be even a little bit older to say, man, that's expiring, not expiring.
I have been called expired before. That's another story.
For the next podcast. Yeah. No, but just inspiring that to hear someone young who says things like, you know, I have the chance to go, but I really think I want to stay. And I want to be optimistic, and I want to do the right thing, and I want to do it this way because I think that'll help my future. Like, saying things like that are inspiring to older people because we know that we're going to be turning it over to the next generation, and we don't want a bunch of idiots running the city. We want people like you running the city, right?
Thank you.
So when we see people with their head on straight and not crazy kooky, we're like, cool.
Thank you.
You know?
That's truly the best compliment to get. Truly it is, because sometimes I do feel like, I mean, if you guys don't know, I do look really young for my age, but I am 24, so I am decently old, okay?
Decently, yeah.
I'm almost a quarter of a century old.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Gotcha, yeah.
So put it like that, I'm kind of old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, sometimes I'm always like, I need to have this figured out. I need to make sure that I'm doing something. I need to make this much money at this age. I need to have a career by this age. And that does stress me out sometimes. But those are the thoughts in my head. I don't know why that pops into my head. Like, again, I'm only 24. I don't know why I need to be making six figures at 24.
In Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do with it? Like,
yeah, true.
How many tin caps can you afford then? All of them.
I'm going to be getting the box seats.
Exactly.
So it makes me, it relieves some of my anxiety to actually hear that I mean, even though I am not super well off in life, that like people do look at me and think highly of me. That is huge for me. So thank you so much for all those compliments. It truly makes me feel good.
Well, then let me keep going a little bit on that, because this could be encouraging for people who are 24, 34, 44, 54, 94. It doesn't matter. Yeah. That the thing that I have learned is that it's not about what people think about you. Mm-hmm. When you can get that out of your head, I think you will be better off. Yeah. Because here's the thing, no matter what you do, there's going to be people that will be like, oh, why is she doing that?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It truly doesn't. You could be doing the best thing ever, and there'll be 17 people who on social media are like, oh, what is she doing? So you can't operate that way. Yeah. You'll drive yourself crazy. Oh, so instead, what you have to do is truly, 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 truly not be in competition. If you know a friend who is also 24, she's already married and has a baby and has a white picket fence, that's her story. Yeah. Yep. That's hers. Yeah. It's not Natalie's.
Yeah.
Yours is to be 24, engaged and helping out families and helping out a family who helps out a lot of people. You understand that what you do for Ashley and her family helps Ashley support over 350 vendors. 10,000 people come to the market a week. You understand that you're impacting that? So the next Thursday that you go over there and just think, oh, I'm just helping out this little family, understand that it's more than that, right?
Yeah.
Well, the more you think that way, in my opinion, the more sense of, okay, hey, let's go. I got this. We're doing this. And I'm not worried about my friend who's already married and has a kid because that's not my journey.
Yeah.
And in the end, the more that you can think through like that and not worry about what others may think.
Yeah.
Besides, the ones who think highly of you are the ones that truly matter. Why?
Yes.
Because they know you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when I was saying those things, it wasn't because I had just met you 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, I've known you for well over a year.
Yeah.
And have seen those things,
yeah.
you know? And so those are things that I think that whether you're 24 or 94, that I think you should remember.
Yeah.
Because when you have bad days, those thoughts creep in. My
yeah.
friend Kristen,
yeah.
On bad days, that's going to happen. So when you can think of that more, those will overpower the bad days, and you'll have more good than bad.
Yes.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So hopefully that's just what I've learned. I didn't just like come up with that but I just think that's what's made me happy is, okay, I can do the same thing. I don't have any kids. And how many people my age have kids? Like, 99% of them. I'm the 1% that doesn't, I feel like. But you know me pretty well. Like, it doesn't ever seem like it really bothers me, right?
No.
Because I just think I have a different journey. I've coached a lot of kids.
Yes.
I've been uncle to many kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I still love helping out if kids are involved. I like doing that stuff. Like, I enjoy it, like, I worked at all different schools, with kids. So that's just not my journey to have kids at this point. Like, and I'm okay with it because I know that my journey was for me.
Yeah.
Your journey's for you.
Yes.
Embrace it, you know?
And this is why I get along with you, because you're an optimistic person.
Yep. That is why we're like the homies. Yep. Because whenever there's something going on with the market, an event where it's just like the market staff or whatever, we end up around each other, like, oh, what up, like at different events and different things. It's always like, oh, what are you doing? Like we just kind of mesh that way. And we're not frowning a lot, are we?
No. I mean,
get together and smile.
We do make a lot of jokes.
Yes,
we could be crude at times.
Maybe a little bit. So that'll be for the next podcast. Again, we're obviously starting one with just Natalie, I think, right?
I mean, I would always want to. This is my first podcast ever, so I mean, I just feel like my favorite type of podcasts are the podcasts where they sit down and just like tell stories, and I feel like I have a lot of stories. If you ever want to hear some batshit crazy,
there's an old movie. There's an old movie called Adventures in Babysitting. It's very old.
What?
And that could be the name of a podcast. Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, I have plenty.
So we will start that. Stay tuned.
Okay, perfect.
You can catch us every Saturday, as you know, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the ylni Farmers Market. Be sure to follow the Instagram and Facebook for updates. And we are celebrating our 20th season outside, which is nuts because you're only 24, so you were 4 years old.
That is crazy to put into perspective.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you, Natalie. Catch Natalie again, like I said, at the ylni Farmers Market every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to the ylni Farmers Market podcast. Remember, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so that you can be notified when new episodes drop. A big special thanks to our sponsors, the Solar Brothers. For more information on how you can save money on your energy bill, give them a call at 833-765-2276. Also, 260 Roofing for a free estimate on your roof. Call them at area code 260-800-3031. Remember, for more information on the ylni Farmers Market, you can always follow us on our Instagram and Facebook page at ylni Farmers Market. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.